Hi, it's Alinka with another cup of coffee, and today I'm drinking coffee with my friend Shelley. Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Alenka, how's it going this morning?
Oh, it's great. You?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great. So today we are talking about your path, your coach, and you're helping women to change what they don't like, and it's specifically being bold and courageous. So our theme will be courage and step on, get up on their feet. How did you get to this point when you're comfortable teaching others about this?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. About 10 years ago, I asked for a divorce, and 1 month after I asked for my divorce, I lost my job. So, of course, all the really scary things were running through my head. How am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to afford housing? How am I going to afford to live? I'm going to end up a bag lady, for God's sake. Telephone. So in the midst of all of this mass confusion and chaos, I started thinking to myself, maybe I should just stay married. Maybe I should just stay unhappily married. Because how am I going to get a divorce without a good paying job? And how am I going to pay for everything that I need to pay for? And the more that I started thinking about staying in an unhappy marriage for another 5 years or whatever it would take to get back up on my feet, the more I felt like I was dying inside. I was so unhappy in my marriage for such a long time. I already felt like I lost this huge part of me. And so when I thought about staying, I knew that basically it was a slow death. I was just going to crawl into a hole. Everything in my life that I put on the back burner, I was never going to achieve it. I was never going to do it. I was just going to continue just going through the process that we all go through every single day. We get up and we do the exact same routine. And it doesn't matter if it's fulfilling. We just do it because that's what we've been doing for so long. So I lost my job. I still went through with my divorce. I lost my house. Let's see. I had to take a much lower paying job. And in the process of all of that, Alenka, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
In the process of all of that, my screen went blank.
I'm here.
Okay. So I didn't know how I was going to pay for anything, but it didn't stop me from going through with my divorce. And I ended up losing my house, losing my job, moving away from the town that I grew up in for 38 years. I moved to family, my friends, someplace that was more affordable. It wasn't overly far away. It was about an hour and a half away from where I grew up. But it was a huge adjustment for me. And it was really, really hard transition. And every single morning it took a lot of courage just to get up and wake up and keep doing what I needed to do in order to proceed with my life. And that was about 8 years ago. So if somebody had said 8 years ago, you'd be divorced, you'd be almost debt-free, you'd be starting your own business, you'd be coaching, which is something I dreamt about 15 years ago. I bought all these books on coaching 15 years ago, and I never thought I would do it. And I just think that sometimes we accept life and we put things on the back burner and we forget about them. But even though we forget about them, like, they're not burned out. They're still smoldering deep inside our hearts. And so
what
15
was that tipping point?
What was that?
What was that tipping point? What made you because so many people living lives they don't like, but they don't get the courage to really do something about it. They're just staying there because it's better to have this than going into unknown. And usually it has to be something big changing or some push or something that really make us change? What was it for you? Hello? Shelley? Are you there? Shelley, what was that tipping point, something that moved you forward? So many women stay in relationships or in jobs they don't like and they feel miserable there, but, at the same time, they feel like, well, I know this is my comfort zone. How can I get out? And usually something really big must happen, so they make that step. What happened to you, or how did you come to this decision? Where did you get the courage to do it? I don't hear you. I don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yay!
Oh my God. I am not a fan. Do you remember JJ's first Google Hangout?
I know.
I just don't like Google Hangouts at all. Or it doesn't like me, should I say.
No, we can do this.
Okay.
We're not done until we finish this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm listening to your answer now.
My tipping point?
Yes.
My tipping point was when my uncle, who was a year younger than me, he was the product of my grandparents' divorce. My grandmother asked for a divorce, and she found out she was pregnant. And she still went through with the divorce. And she had Derek, and there's, 20 years between my uncle Derek and my mom. Like, there's a big span in there. And so he grew up more like a sibling to me. He was more like my brother. And always around, part of our family. We did everything with him. I went to school with him, like, from kindergarten through high school. And, he was just like my brother to me. And then at 36, we found out that he had brain cancer. He was having some issues with his blood sugar. He went into the doctors. They told him he was diabetic. They ran some more tests. and they found out that he had brain cancer. And so, lo and behold, underwent chemotherapy, brain surgery, radiation, more chemo, another brain surgery.
Oh, wow.
And he got really, really sick. And in the midst of this, I had been contemplating my divorce. My ex-husband was really, really unsupportive of my choice to take care of my uncle while he was sick. He didn't feel it was my place. He felt like my mom should be stepping up to the plate and taking care of him because it was her brother. But what he didn't realize was the bond that I had with Derek went all the way back from the day that we were born, and he was more like my brother and not my mom. I mean,
yeah,
my mom.
we were the same age. Yeah.
Exactly. So I proceeded to take care of Derek, and I proceeded to be unhappy in my marriage, and I continued working a third shift job taking care of people who are at end of life and who had Alzheimer's. I continued taking care of my 2 children, and I was really getting to the point of having a mental breakdown. And then Derek died.
Wow.
And I was there the day he died, and I held him, and I told him that I would be okay. And he worried about me. He really worried. He's like, Shelley's like, I don't want you to live this life for other people. Like, you're not happy. He's like, you get one shot. Tomorrow it could be over. And basically my attitude from that moment forward was, I'm not happy in my marriage. I haven't been happy for a long time. I'm done with this crap. I'm not living my life according to someone else. I'm doing it my way. And honestly, I didn't care if I became a bag lady, because becoming a bag lady, at least I would have been a happy bag lady and not a miserable married woman. So Derek died, and we buried him. And I continued to go through with my divorce. And I lost my house, and I lost my job, and I didn't have a good paying job. I took a job paying a lot less money. I scraped to get by. Every single penny I had, I paid off bills, I paid off debt, I did some photography shoots for people, whatever I could do to make an extra buck. And the whole entire time that I was making an extra buck, I was putting my money away, paying bills, paying down debt, because I knew that I had one shot at this life, goddammit. My time could become tomorrow. It might be over. And I wasn't going to live my life based on someone else's decision from me. So I paid down a whole bunch of debt. I made a plan in the back of my head and on paper to commit to getting out of the job that I hated, to start my own business, become debt-free. I started my business 8 years ago. I'm 1 year from being debt-free. I'm still right on schedule. 5 years ago, I lost my house. I was broke. I was poverty-stricken, and I had no idea how the hell I was going to do it. Am I happier than I was in my marriage? Absolutely. Would I have things if I had known how hard it was going to be to get from there to here? No, I still would have done it. Like, I'm much happier because I stepped up to the plate and basically said, screw it, I'm going to do what I got to do for me. So that was my tipping point. That was the point that changed my life forever.
Wow, that's fascinating. So now you help other women to do not the same, but to find that courage and that boldness and that whatever it takes to take that step, right? What's your mission?
My mission is to help women who have overcome huge obstacles in their life. They've never been fully supported. They don't have a big support network behind them. So they're really scared to step up to meet these choices. And I help them building businesses that empower them, that impact their life, that give them courage, it's something that they believe in, that can also potentially make them a lot of money, something they love. And with that money, they can use their life.
And I know you have a Facebook group where you sort of give support to that women. You're guiding them.
I do. My Facebook group is Soul Steps for Women in Business, and it's about taking practical, doable baby steps, because if you're paralyzed and you're frozen like I was for years, you don't take any steps. But if you take small steps that feel like they're doable every single day, those small steps add up. And before you know it, you're free, you're living life the way you want to live it, you're happy, you're owning your own stuff, you're living a fulfilled life. It doesn't have to be like one big giant leap of faith and hope the hell you fly. But you've got to have a little bit of courage, and you got to have a lot of support to create a plan of action that's going to get you there, and steps that you can do every single day that will move you forward. So that's what my Soul Business Woman does.
So what do you think, or what do you suggest that the first step for these women are? Because, you know, sometimes you have to acknowledge some things before you can change them, but obviously those are the situations that you, or I would say these women are very aware of. But what's that step that they can make immediately to change something, to move forward?
A lot of the reason that we stay in situations that we're not happy with is out of fear of the unknown. So I used to do a lot of journal writing, and I would write out all of my fears. And then underneath all of my fears, I would write out the worst case scenario. What if this happens? What would I do? And it takes away the fear, because the fact of the matter is the worst fear in the world could possibly happen, but the chances are, even if it does, you would have a plan. Like, you're not walking into something blind. You're looking at every single possible fear, what the worst case scenario could be, and then you're creating an action plan just in case it happens. So you're eliminating the fear. I used to journal write because it allowed me to go beyond my fears. And it allowed me to create a strategic plan of action. So I would definitely say, like, the number one thing for building courage is to face your fears head on, whether it be by talking to someone and getting support, or by writing your fears out and really getting honest that even if they happened, so what? You can do this, this, and this. There's always a step that you can take, even if something really bad happens.
So, and what do you suggest to others that are supposed to support those women? You know, when someone living in hell is coming to you with a problem or their situation, and they're waiting for you to be their rock for them, how can you react? How can you help them?
I help women by helping them get their own power back and helping them to build a support network, whether it's real life or online. But it's really important to have a support network, and it's really important to take your own power back. You can have a huge support network, but when it comes down to it, the only person that can take those steps is you. So you've got to start owning your own stuff, and you've got to start telling yourself, you know, I can do this, I'm worthy of this, I deserve this, I don't deserve to be unhappy, I deserve to move forward in my life. And you change your thinking. You keep telling yourself all the good things that you want and that you deserve and that you desire. You start filling your life with that, so that deep inside your heart, you start feeling stronger about what you are capable of doing.
Yeah, but I was thinking more like a, you know, like a friend or a supporter for you know, this kind of situation. For instance, if my friend comes to me with a problem, how can I be more supportive and more more there for her.
You pretty much just nailed it. You open up the doors of communication and you ask your friend, like, what can I do for you? How can I be supportive, and what do you need from me to get you through this? How can I help you move forward?
Yeah, because on the other hand, we are often sort of paralyzed, when someone comes to us with a problem, oftentimes we give advice, but on the other hand, we are not in their position. We don't know what to say. We don't know what to do.
Exactly. I think that it eliminates a lot of the fear on both sides by just opening up that communication and outright asking your friend, what can I do for you, and what do you need from me? How can I help you with this? It's allowing you to do what your friend needs, and it's also taking away the fear on your end of it, thinking that you don't know what kind of advice to offer to your friend, because you're asking them what they need from you.
That's a great advice. So, Shelley, you also have some programs, something that you have women set up their own businesses, like you said, to get on their own feet, to earn their own money, to be more independent.
I do. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, 15 years ago, I think it was, I started buying books on coaching before anybody even knew what the heck coaching was. And I put it on the back burner, and I pretty much let it fizzle out. And then 8 years ago, I asked for my divorce, and in the midst of that, I started getting back into coaching, and about 3 years ago, I started taking coach training through Coach Training Alliance. And like I said, 8 months ago, I decided to start my own business. It was a process, a huge process of getting there and really making the plan and putting all the steps into order, of making sure that I had enough money in my bank account and that my bills were paid down and that I wasn't taking unrealistic jumps, that, I could take small steps in my business to get to where I want to get to. And part of really starting a business, and it's so hard because there's so much information out there on the internet, that we get into overwhelm mode and shiny object syndrome, and I have ADD, so I'm all over the board half the time. It's really easy for me to get distracted. But I found that once I tuned out the noise and really started focusing in on what it is that I want to be doing, I started making significant progress in my business. I started getting more clients consistently. I started getting more sign-ups for my program. And so that's what I help women do, is I help them get clear on the business they want to start. Because you can go out and you can get a business program today, an e-course, and it could be on everything from launching an e-course to setting up your opt-in, to creating sales pages, to creating digital products, leveraging your time, doing webinars, doing Google Hangouts. I mean, there's a zillion things that go into building a business, and you can get training on all of that stuff, but none of it's going to matter if you skip the very first process, the very first step in the process, and that's sitting back, getting quiet, tuning out the rest of the world, and really, really getting clear on what it is that you do, why you do it, who you do it for, and how you make your clients feel when they're done working with you. You need to know these things. Like, this is the foundation of your business, and everything else goes out from there. So I help women get clear, really crystal clear. Hone in on who they work with and why they work with them and what they do for them, and then we get clear on creating the package that they're going to put out there to the world, and we work with where their clients are, how to find their clients, how to attract clients, because you don't want to be searching for clients for the rest of your life. You want to put out stuff that attracts your client to you. So we work on getting clear with all of that stuff so that you can build a business with a really strong foundation. That's how I help women.
So you're actually showing them steps to really move forward. And where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Shelley McNamara. And you can find me on my website at shellmcnamara.com, SHELMCNAMARA.com.
Wonderful.
You can find me also hanging out on Facebook at Shelley McNamara, and you can just PM me.
Yeah, she's always on Facebook.
I'll connect with you.
Well, Shelley, let's wrap this up. So I always ask my guests, what would be the, the simple tips, simple advice that you can give to our listeners to start implementing today?
The very first thing that I would suggest to anybody who is contemplating starting a business, or they've already started a business and they're working on getting courage and building courage in their life to get this going, would be to tune out the rest of the world, spend some quiet time alone, take your journal with you, start writing what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. Really start honing in on what your values are. What values do you want to bring to your business? The values that I bring to my business are simplicity, quiet, peace, serenity, calm. Like, those are the things that when people are done working with me, I don't want them to feel scattered. I want them to feel truly connected with what it is that they want to bring to their clients. So I would probably have to say, yeah, the first step would be get quiet and start journal writing.
That's a good advice. That's a good advice. Well,
yeah.
Shelley, it was really nice talking to you. I know how hard it was to you to come to this hangout, but we've made it. You showed your courage again today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Belenka. Bye.
Bye. Bye.